Hey guys, Jason here, and today I wanted to show you my favorite way to transfer patterns. And it's actually very easy. And like I said, it's my favorite way. It's one of the fastest ways I've come across, and I just really like it. So I wanted to show you how to do it. So what you're going to need, of course, is your pattern. And this is the one we'll be working with today. It also helps to have a couple of straight edges. If you have one of these nice fashion curves, that's great. If not, just any kind of straight edge helps out a lot. You're also going to need some scissors, a Sharpie, it doesn't matter what color, whatever color you like, and then if you have them, some pattern weights. If you don't have pattern weights, and you have like a piece of cardboard or something you can put on your work surface, or if your work surface is pinnable, you can just pin into your work surface. But since I'm working on my dining room table, I don't want to pin into that, so I'm just going to use my pattern weights. So, got all that. And finally, our most important thing is our secret weapon. And this is 4mm Husky clear plastic sheeting. This is basically drop cloth for painting. And it's just, you want the clear, you want to get the clear plastic. You can get this at Home Depot or Target or Lowe's, anything like that. And it's just thin, clear plastic. You want the kind that's kind of thick. 3.5 mil or 4.4 mil are both good. You don't want to get like the really flimsy kind, because otherwise you're just going to it's just going to rip, because it's basically like that thin, really trash bag material, and it's not going to do you any good. So I'm going to set up my pattern and we'll get started. Okay, so I went ahead and laid out one of my pattern pieces, and we're going to focus on this piece right here, this piece number 3. And what I kind of do is I just kind of use my hands to kind of smooth out the tissue. If you want to, you can use a warm, dry iron to iron out any wrinkles or anything like that, just like you normally would. Now, most patterns will tell you to cut the patterns apart, or cut the pieces apart and cut out the pieces you need. But I really don't like doing that, because once you do that, it makes it real easy for the pattern pieces to get lost, or if you cut them out on a specific size, for example, if we cut this out on the smallest size, then if I wanted to make it again in a larger size, I would have to go and buy another pattern. If a pattern has a lot of little pieces, it makes them real easy to get lost. I just like to keep my pattern sheets intact. So this is why I trace all my patterns. You can also trace onto muslin if you want to, or any kind of cheap fabric or newspaper or anything like that. I use the plastic because it's actually kind of faster. So I'm just going to take my plastic, which I left over here, and I'm just going to cut a piece that's long enough to cover that. I'm going to unfold this and just lay it directly on top. Oh, and look at that, I have enough for my next piece, which is right here next to it. The plastic is really inexpensive. Like I said, this whole roll right here, which was 150 square feet, was less than $10. I want to say it was like 7 or 8 at Walmart. So I'm just going to kind of go through and just kind of rub along the crease lines right here, just to kind of smooth out the plastic so I don't have any big major creases or anything. Now I'm just going to take my pattern weights and just kind of lay them on top. I'm going to slide this up just a little bit. And you can kind of use the weights to pull out any wrinkles and just hold your pattern flat. Now I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm just going to start tracing. Now I'm going to cut this out in the largest size, and the first thing I like to do is trace all of my notations. So all your circles, your notches. I like to do my grain lines. I'm just going to take my ruler. And the great thing about the Sharpie is if you give it a few minutes to dry, it will not come off. All right. I'm going to trace my grain line. I like to trace pretty much all of the markings. You can do as few or as little as you think are necessary. I just kicked the camera. I'm going to do my little grain line right here. All right. And the last thing I like to do before I start tracing out the actual pattern is the most important part, which is transfer all the information. So I like to put the piece number, which is 3. I like to write what it is. This is the coat upper side front. I like to write how many to cut out, times 2 fabric. I put the pattern number, which is 2172. And since it's simplicity, my personal organization system is I put a little S there to stand for simplicity. That way, if this pattern piece ever gets separated, I know where it belongs. And lastly, I put the size that it is too. Every time I trace out a new size of a garment, I put it in its own envelope, and that helps me keep track of everything. So again, if this ever got separated, I know what pattern it belongs to and what size it is. So it all just makes life easier later. So then once I do that, once I get all of my markings transferred, I like to do all of my straight lines. So I just use a ruler to help me with that. And just line it right up along the edge and then trace it out. Any place you have a straight line, you can use your straight edge. If you have one of these fun little fashion rulers like this, you can actually use this ruler to trace your entire pattern. I think it takes a little bit too much time to do it that way, so a lot of it I just freehand, which is also fine. All right, now I'm just going to start tracing around all the lines I couldn't do with my ruler. And like I said, if you don't have a fashion curve, that's all right. It also doesn't matter if you use a fine tip marker or a big tip marker like this. This is supposedly a fine point, but as you can see, it's been used a lot, so that fine tip point isn't there anymore. But that's okay. You just want to trace right on your proper size. Another thing I sometimes do when tracing out a pattern is if a pattern kind of has me between sizes, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll trace out the 2 sizes that I'm in between. For example, if I was in the in between, like the size I'm tracing out now and the one smaller than that, I would take another color, like say red, and trace out the size smaller in red. That way, when I cut it out, I can pin it together on each side and see which size fits me better. And with the plastic, you can actually do that. You can take pins or even staples and just staple along the seam line, or you can pin. It's better to pin, but you can also staple if you want to go faster. You can just staple it together and try it on to see how it fits. And the last line I need to trace is right here. Let me make sure I got the right line, which is going to be this inside line. All right, so there it is. I'm done tracing out everything I need to. That's all I want to transfer onto here. So let me just move this off so you can kind of see what I did. My curve. Now if I were to take this off, you can see I have a perfect copy of my piece right there ready to go. I put all my information on it so if it ever gets lost, and then I would just cut it out. But like I said, this is a great easy way to transfer your pattern. It's fast. It's faster than using a transfer wheel to transfer onto muslin, because then you have to take a fabric marker and trace over your chalk, and then you have to cut it out. The plus side to the muslin is you can sew it together and try it on, but I just think this is faster. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope you like this and use this. If not, that's okay too. But yeah, that's my little tip for you, my little quickie video, and I'll see you in the next one.